And spawning up in the top left-hand position, we have got the Zerg player representing Team Acer. Down a game in this best of 7, it's Scarlett. And she's up against the Red Terran down in the bottom right, playing for Team Liquid. Up one game. That first game played really spectacular. It is Bunny.
Yeah, that game number 1 reminded me a tiny bit of the game that Sean played last weekend against Hart, even though that was of course a little different because there were no roaches and hydras involved, but the positions that the players were in and the usage of the Brute Lords reminded me a little bit of it, but obviously the biggest difference ever was that Bunny never really was pushed back. He kept on the pressure non-stop and did a pretty phenomenal job in it from what I saw.
Now, I know Scarlett was mentioning in the pre-game lobby, I can't remember whose stream she was watching. I think it may have actually been Sulky's.
Yeah,
and
I think she mentioned Sulky.
Yeah, that he was doing something earlier, so Scarlett was like, oh, I'll give it a go. And then decided that perhaps it's map dependent and that Nimbus wasn't the best map to go for that Roach Hydra Brood Lord style composition. But still,
yeah, I can see on an overgrowth or something, if you can get away with it early on, it might actually be really strong because it's such a small map. So if you ever get to Brood Lords, it's pretty much just like 20 seconds until it's on top of the Terran production facilities.
Well, in terms of opening this game, we do just have the hatch first coming on down at the moment from Scarlett. Bunny also going to be going for the command center first. Now, game number 1, he was crazy greedy, like super crazy greedy. He went for CC into a Rax into a third CC. Pretty much the boldest opening you can do as a Terran.
He's been taking notes out of Bomber, man. That's the way to do it. The greedy Terrans are making a comeback in this era of Starcraft 2, and they are being more successful than ever. Well, I mean, I guess it's a little map dependent as well, Metals. Like on a map like Nimbus, it's obviously a lot easier to get away with something like that than it is on KenZy Junk Station. Because if Scarlett would scout it here, then she will just roach Bane all in all day, every day.
Now, I'm just taking a quick little look at what Eligulac says. Now I've updated the stats to be 1 hour for Bunny. That gives Bunny a big boost in his predicted chance of taking this. To remind anyone who's just tuning in now, of course, these two have already played in the group stages of this tournament. And that was actually a 2-1 to Scarlett, although I would argue that was probably the closest series we had of the entire group stage.
It was not even necessarily the closest series, it was a very fun series, because Scarlett was still sort of perhaps holding back in a weird way, because he knew that he had to go up against Sean in WCS America round of 8. It's really funny because I met Sean at WCS America, and I was like, did you watch Scarlett vs Bunny? He's like, yeah, but too crazy for me, because there were 3 completely different openings. Now I must say that Scarlett did open up a little crazy against Sean as well, so maybe that's just her new thing, you know, there's lots and lots of variety, making her a super unpredictable player. But I still feel that series he pushed it to the edge a little more than he normally would.
Well, I think the thing is, by being unpredictable, it makes it a lot harder for your opponent to adapt, and it's something that we mentioned in the group stage of this tournament, that Bunny is one of those players it's very hard to adapt to him, because he's just solid, well-rounded, and while he doesn't go for much huge variation in his builds, and it's still the sort of player where do you really punish Bunny? Early game, he looks solid, he's got good defense. Mid-game, he's got some nice timings. Late game, he's got solid macro. He's not someone who's vulnerable at any part.
I mean, it's safe to say that Scarlett right now is just taking full advantage of everything that she has seen with her overlords. She knows the timing exactly of the factory when it goes down next to that reactor. She knew this was a command center first build, so she decided not to waste any time at all, just go up to 3 hatcheries as soon as possible. This is going to give her a crazy economy to work with. Of course, she has to be careful that she doesn't overdo it, because right now she literally has nothing that's good against Hellions, other than Queens, I guess. So she should start working on maybe either a SimCity or a few extra Queens, and soon Zergling speed. But I think it's safe to say that the command center or first from Bunny is going to be completely irrelevant if Scarlett can get away with the economy that she's currently working towards.
It's not normal at all to be getting this third base down this quickly as a Zerg. Like, in a standard ZVT, you consider it an early third base if it's coming down about now, let alone being finished at this stage. But Scarlett just reacting well to what Bunny's doing at the moment. Bunny going to be pressuring out. This is going to be the first little look he may get at that third base. It's coming round. We'll see the creep spread, and he's going to be like, damn, that is one early third. Pulls on back.
How can you punish this? Scarlett is... sometimes what you see Zerg players do, even when they go up to 3 bases that quickly, in the start they just don't want to bother with defending all 3 mineral lines at once. Now if you're a Zerg player at home and this is something that you struggle with, it's an easy thing to do. You just send all your drones, or at least after you're fully saturated your main, to your natural, up to the point where you actually have a bunch of speedlings and you're not too worried anymore about the Hellions, and then you will try to saturate that base. But so far Scarlett is just relying on her queen, since he's actually getting the job done without any issues at all. Well, okay, maybe I spoke too early, because there is a weather mech with 2 Wither Mines actually running to the natural. Wither Mine is going to shoot. Okay.
3 worker kills, not terrible. And of course, there's a second one also queued up, ready to go into the main. Queen already being pulled, a Spore Crawler attempting to be constructed. Won't be here for the first hit, but of course, Scarlett going to be able to just pull a lot of these drones out the way. Going to try and bait the hit on the Queen, doesn't quite get it. So 5 worker kills for that mine drop. Very little in terms of investment for Bunny there. Going to lose 2 of the mines. Actually, the mine at the natural may get a second hit. No, it shouldn't be able to now.
Yeah, Spore Crawler is going down. Of course, these spores, it's a little frustrating for Scarlett as he has to waste drones on spores in this phase in the game, but spores are actually pretty useful throughout the entire game, especially on a map like Kingston Jump Station, where drops are very common, and against a player like Bunny that we know is very fast as well, that loves to drop. Having spores, like, yeah, you rather waited a little longer with getting them, but it's not too bad. They will be useful. I promise you, Manos.
You promise me. If one day they'll be useful.
Start shooting at a medevac and take one down. We'll see.
Well, Bunny, of course, he is very, very happy to go for a very drop-heavy style, so I agree with you completely, Rotterdam. Getting those Spore Crawlers down will have utility in the later stages. Creep spread from Scarlett has been solid throughout this series, and Bunny's attempting to knock it out. This is a cute little move. Even though he can't have vision of that Spore Crawler, attacking his own Hellion and using splash damage just to finish off the creep tumor, which is...
I have to give a shout out to the Muslim for that, because he was actually the first Terran that I ever saw doing that, and this is like still Wings of Liberty beta or something. I was casting one of his games, and then he's like, "You saw that, you saw it." He did it on Lost Temple, not even on the Shadow Temple, but on the Lost Temple. But yeah, cute move indeed.
I like all those little tricks. There's a couple you can do with Colossus as well. Just the entire plan of doing it is such.
I really love it when product players like have no detection, but they kill DTs by attacking their own units.
Yep.
So like, because when I do that, that goes terribly wrong. I kill half my army. Anyways, there is a pretty big bioforce marching across the map. 33 Marines on the map right now for Bunny. And there are also 2 tanks. These tanks are trailing. Where are these tanks?
They're in the mineral line, the natural mineral line. They've got a bit confused. They're drunk. They're in.
Yeah, that's actually
Bunny's
very
mineral
frustrating.
line.
That's actually very frustrating, Meadows. Because imagine if those tanks are already there. Now Scarlett has a solid 30 or 40 seconds more to squeeze out as many units as he could possibly wish for. And this is tricky for Bunny. If those tanks were there immediately, he's putting himself in a much stronger position than he's actually in right now. Of course, this did allow him to get even more Marines. He does still have a massive army supply lead. Sweet Jesus. It's 86 against 48.
There are Banelings though for Scarlett, so if they're able to get good connections, they can negate a lot of this army supply. Upgrade advantage is there for Scarlett as well, 1-1 to 1-0. In she goes though, the tanks aren't sieged yet, just sieging now. Forward comes those Banelings, able to get some nice connections.
I don't think it's good enough.
No, I don't think it is.
I don't think it's good enough.
They took down a lot of Marines. 15 Marines were taken down, but where's the follow-up army? There's just nothing here. Some Banelings trying to morph. Bunny, moving in towards this natural base, has a great position on that siege tank. What does Scarlett do?
I'm not sure. Just hope that he can somehow get the Banelings out and get the connections that she's looking for, that every Zerg player is looking for. But with the tanks sieged up now as well, I think it's going to be extremely difficult. Beautiful splits there by Bunny. Really, those Marines running away from those Banelings excellently, allowing the tank to get a couple of shots as well. And I mean, it's getting close supply-wise, but there's still so many drones on the map, and I just feel there are not enough units on the map right now. At least the bailing nest was in the main base, not in the natural, so it's going to live. But if this natural falls, Scarlett is going to be in a lot of trouble, and she knows it.
The siege tanks in such strong positions now, really utilizing the map geography well, just so Bunny can keep that nice and steady. Down goes the natural base, and as you said, Rotterdam, Scarlett is in some problems. The only bright side for you is the Spore Crawler did shoot at some medevacs, but, well, that's going to be game, and Bunny takes an early 2-0 lead.